Allahu, 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 Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Quran Halaqa with Abdurrahman and Abdullah. Now, inshallah, I will be going over Surah Al-A'la with its main key points and a summary for each and every ayah. So, inshallah, I'll read the surah right now and then I will go with the translation, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما ربي زدني علما آمين يا رب العالمين. Today, inshallah, I'll be talking about Surah Al-A'la in the 87th chapter of the Quran in the 30th juz. This surah is Mekki. Al-A'la means the Most High. The reason of revelation for the surah is because the Prophet ﷺ never used to get that many revelations. Not like Surah Duha when he had revelations, but this is when he was first getting the revelations from Angel Jibreel. So he was new to the concept of Angel Jibreel coming down and then saying the verses of the Quran to him. The problem was with the Prophet ﷺ that he was afraid that he might forget some of the verses and then he might mix them up together and then the Quran would be scrambled up. But this chapter of the Quran is telling the Prophet ﷺ to not worry because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala controls everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help him to keep it in his heart and help keep it memorized within him. So there are about 8 to 10 sections in the surah. The first section of the surah talks about how to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So whenever you start a surah, like for instance, Surah A'la, what do you say? You would say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim means in the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most beneficent. And then the next ayah that comes, the first ayah of Surah A'la begins with Sabbih isma rabbikal a'la. Glorify the name of your Lord, the Most High. So this ayah relates to Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim because you glorify the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala And then in the next ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is repeating it to you. Glorify it. Say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Glorify the name of your Lord who is the most high. الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى, who created all the things that you see on this earth and fashioned them according to his will in good proportions. This is ayah number 2. But what does this mean? This means that wherever you see anything, any natural made thing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like a river, like an ocean, like a mountain, like a plateau, all of these are created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is where this ayah gets put to use. الَّذِي خَلَقَ فَسَوَّى, the one who fashions them with the proper proportions. So you would not see a different ocean than a different ocean. They would be the same looking. But unless if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills to keep them different, but then in other cases, like right now, we will see an ocean as an ocean, a lake as a lake, and etc. وَالَّذِي قَدَّرَ فَهَدَى, the one who determined and guides them. But what does this mean? Who determined what? This ayah actually from the Tafsirs, it means the one who determines the period of lifetime for a person. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that controls the lifetime of ours. We can live as long as we want, but eventually our life will have to come to an end. And then fahada, وَالَّذِي قَدَّرَ فَهَدَى, and guided them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides whoever he wants, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't guide whoever he wants. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directs everyone towards their end, because eventually all human beings have a limit. And then the the section of Surah Al-A'la, it talks about his power, like one of his things that he can do. وَالَّذِي أَخْرَجَ الْمَرْعَى فَجَعَلَهُ غُثَاءً أَحْوَى. So this ayah means the one who brought forth, the one who gave a green pasture, a green field, and then he reduces it to dust. He reduces it to blackness. So this ayah shows what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of doing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of turning an entire land into a forest. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of turning a barren land into an ocean. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is capable of doing anything. So this is one of his capabilities that he can do. He can turn a field into a green pasture. And then he can also reduce it to black straw. He can reduce it with dead crops. But one thing that I want to mention here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't keep a bad thing forever. With ease comes difficulty, and difficulty comes ease. So what this means is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't just keep a good thing here forever. Like in this case, in the green field, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will alternate it with the bad crops. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep a green field, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will switch it back and forth. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is one of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's capabilities that none of us human beings can ever do. Now talking about the purpose of this revelation, about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he was afraid that he might lose some of the verses or he might forget the verses. So these two ayahs are actually guaranteeing him that you won't, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to do a certain performance that you will not forget it. So سَنُقْرِئُكَ فَلَا تَنْسَى إِلَّا مَا شَاءَ اللَّهُ إِنَّهُ يَعْلَمُ الْجَهْرَ وَمَا يَخْفَى. So this ayah means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam recite it in such a way that he will never forget it. So he will have to read it once and then he won't forget it. Notice that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam never knew how to read or write. So the only thing that he knew was to speak the language of Arabic. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him down a paper copy or written on stone, the Prophet ﷺ would not be able to read the revelation. and you would not therefore understand it. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling the Prophet ﷺ, do not worry, just because you can't read or write, we will recite it in such a way that you will never forget it. But then ayah 7 says, except what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wishes. So meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can take away anything he wants and he can give anything he wants. He knows everything. He knows everything that is hidden. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything that is also in the open. And then the fourth category is talking about the Prophet ﷺ, that now that he has this information, he should go spread the information to the other people who were not believing in his message. So this is the time, and this is the portion of the surah that is saying Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is going to go spread the message, because the Prophet ﷺ was just beginning his prophecy when he got this revelation. So what are these ayahs? So these ayahs are وَنُيَسِّرُكَ لِلْيُسْرَى فَذَكِّرْ إِن نَّفَعَتِ الذِّكْرَى. We will make your path so easy that it will just be in the way of ease. And so just remind people about the benefits that you have. Remind people about the knowledge that you have. Tell people about what you just learned. So this revelation, the Prophet ﷺ will go and recite it to the Sahabas again. Then the next category about the advice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just gave us. So these ayahs are 10 to 13. سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا. So what do these ayahs mean? سيذكر من يخشى, the one who fears shall take this as a reminder. The advice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Prophet ﷺ, remind people so it can be of their benefit. So this portion is just talking to us Muslims, all of us Muslims. We should, whoever is afraid of their Lord, who fears Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of making Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala angry, they will take this as a reminder. وَيَتَجَنَّبُهَا الْأَشْقَى. But the other people who will ignore it, are going to be the bad people, meaning the munafiq, the kuffar, and the other people. What will happen to these people? It says it in the next ayah. الَّذِي يَصْلَى النَّارَ الْكُبْرَى. They will be into a great fire, in a blazing fire that this kind of person will enter. And then the punishment for them that is mentioned in Surah Al-A'la, this is one of the answers to one of the questions. It is that ثُمَّ لَا يَمُوتُ فِيهَا وَلَا يَحْيَا. In there, you will not live, but you will not die. So it's going to be in between. Some hadiths were saying that and the fire will burn their skin, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will regenerate their skin. So this is what this ayah is saying, that they will not live but they won't die. Then the next category is talking about the one who takes the advice and they're trying to make themselves prosper and then get cleansed up. So قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى. He is the one who purifies himself and shall prosper. The one who empties his mind out from any evil. So what we should get from this ayah is that we should try to avoid as many bad sins as possible, because this life is going to be very short. وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. Remembering his Lord and repeating it again and praying with them. What does this mean? The 99 names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ones that Abdullah just recited a couple of minutes ago, these are the names that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about in ayah 15. All these names are found in the Quran. So this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning them. Remember the Lord's name. Remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name anywhere. So wherever you walk, just remember to go, to read those names. If you're in a difficult situation, you should read names according to it. Like Ghafurur Rahim, the most merciful, to take you out of the situation. And one thing that I want to mention is that some people need to keep a balance with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are two types of people. There are some people who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much, they fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much that they do not think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loving. But this is not true. One of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name is Al-Wadud. So some people just fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much that they just fear him. They don't love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then there are some people who just love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so much they don't fear him anymore. Like they don't think of him as Al-Aziz or Al-Malik, the mighty or the king. So we need to keep a balance. We need to fear Allah at the same time and love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the same time. We need to respect him and his names. And then this category is talking about the human characteristics, the human nafs. It says, بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. Bel, it means but no. It seems that most of the human beings, most of you still prefer this life of the world than the next, even though the next life is much more better and lasting. What we can get from this is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directing this ayah to everyone, non-Muslims and Muslims, everyone. Because some of the Muslims actually take this as a real thing. They say تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا. They'll say that they'll prefer this life. But even though the next life is going to be much longer. So what do we need to do to get a better status in the hereafter? What we need to do is make this life better. One way we should do Hajj. We should smile more. We should say salam more. Like simple deeds can raise your status on the day of judgment. And then now the final section of the surah. It's talking about the scrolls or the books of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam. إِنَّ هَذَا لَفِي الصُّحُفِ الْأُولَى صُحُفِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَمُوسَى. So indeed, what these ayahs mean, it's saying that this indeed was in the ancient scrolls of Ibrahim alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam. So what is in the scrolls or the books? So this ayah is saying that this entire chapter, Surah Al-A'la, was actually mentioned in the books of Ibrahim and Musa. So the people of Ibrahim and Musa some of them went astray. So the people of Musa, some of them followed, they became Jews. The people who follow Isa alayhi salam and the ones who follow Ibrahim, some of them went astray and then they made themselves Christians. So it's directed to these people that this entire chapter, Surah Al-A'la, chapter 87 in the Quran, is mentioned in the other books that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent before. So inshallah, I will do a quick summary and then inshallah, Abdullah will launch the polls. So this is one of the earliest chapters in the Quran. At the time, the Prophet ﷺ was still not used to getting all these messages from Angel Jibreel. He was afraid that he might forget anything or mix up any of the ayahs. So this chapter tells the Prophet ﷺ not to worry at all because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will keep him safe and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help him to memorize these ayahs. So inshallah, during the polls, when you guys are going to be doing it, Abdullah will be reciting Surah Al-A'la.
Jazakallah khair, Abdurrahman, for giving this beautiful presentation. Now, inshallah, I have released the polls, and inshallah, I'll recite the surah while you guys are doing the polls. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. So inshallah, me and Abdurrahman will be giving another 1 minute to finish the polls, inshallah.
So inshallah, those who have not answered the polls yet, you can answer while I'm going to be answering them. So inshallah, question number one: what does Surah Al-A'la mean? The gracious, the high, the Lord of the worlds, the King. So the two answers that everyone has answered was the Lord of the worlds and the high. The correct answer in this case is the high. Al-A'la means the high because in the first ayah it says Sabbih isma rabbika al-a'la, glorify the name of your Lord the most high. Al-A'la does not mean the Lord of the world. That is actually Rabbil Alameen. Question number two. What are the characteristics of the people of Jahannam in Surah A'la? They will be thrown left and right. They will be in molten iron. They will be neither dead or living. They will cry for hope. So and now that I'm looking at the answer choices, everyone has answered all the answer choices. So the correct answer in this question is they will neither be dead or living. The ayah that says that was ثُمَّ لَا يَمُوتُ فِيهَا وَلَا يَحْيَا, which means that they will not be living or they won't be dead. Question number three: what will be made easy for the believers for Surah A'la? Entry for Jannah, learning the Quran, having patience, life in this world. So none of the participants has answered the correct choice. The correct option was life in this world. Ayahs 8 through 9 are saying we will make your path easier and smoother in this world. Okay, question number 4. What is the first category mentioned? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power, Allah's decree, Allah's glorification, and Allah's mercy. So the two answer choices everyone has answered here was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's power and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's glorification. The correct answer is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's glorification. It says سَبِّحِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ الْأَعْلَى. This is the first category, and سَبِّحِ اسْمَ رَبِّكَ الْأَعْلَى means glorify the name of your Lord, the Most High. So inshallah, and jazakallahu khairan for everyone who has answered. Inshallah, Abdullah will be doing the concluding dua.
سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليه. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.
الله والله والله